Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus appeared to the 11 and said to them, "Go out into the whole world and proclaim the gospel to every creature. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved. Whoever does not believe will be condemned. These signs will accompany those who believe. In my name they will drive out demons. They will speak new languages. They will pick up serpents with their hands, and if they drink any deadly thing, it will not harm them. They will lay hands on the sick, and they will recover." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Today is the feast of the conversion of St. Paul. And so we understand that Paul's name was originally Saul, right? Or as some scholars actually think, is that Paul was his Greek name and Saul was his Hebrew name. Right? Sometimes when people are living in a culture with multiple languages, right, depending on which community they're talking to, right, they'll pronounce their name differently. Right? And we even, we experience this a little bit at St. Bernard with our Hispanic community. Sometimes our Hispanics are called one thing among the Hispanics and other things among the gringos, right? And so it's the same way in the ancient world. And so many scholars actually think that St. Paul was not a new name, it was just his Greek name. And something about the conversion of St. Paul, right, I think is very important for us to remember, is that when we talk about the conversion of St. Paul, sometimes when we think about a conversion, we think about like a complete change, right? Like going from being irreligious to all of a sudden to becoming religious. A major change. But what's important to remember about St. Paul is that he was very zealously religious his whole life. And even after his conversion to Christianity, he still would have referred to himself as a Jew. It wasn't as if he went from being a Jew to a Christian. Rather, he went from being a Jew who did not believe the Messiah had come to becoming a Jew who believed the Messiah had come. It was not a complete change. And yet, his actions and his view of the world underwent a very dramatic change through his conversion. St. Paul was a disciple of one of the most famous rabbis in the ancient world, a man named Gamaliel, who was mentioned in the reading today. Even outside the Bible, right, we have references to that rabbi. He was very famous, and St. Paul was likely one of his prized students. So St. Paul was very well aware of the scriptures, the laws of God, and yet he was completely wrong about the Messiah. Until, of course, he had his blinding conversion moment. The only reason I bring that up is because, again, I think it's important for all of us. No matter how religious we might seem, no matter how long we've been following the way, it's always possible that we could be completely blind about something and going about it in the complete wrong way. It kind of reminds me as well as a priest friend of mine. I remember I texted him once and I was asking him how he was doing, and he said, 1 more day to convert myself. And I thought that was really, a very insightful text message. That priests, it's the same way with priests. Every single one of us has to be constantly trying to be more deeply converted to God. Every one of us is always going to have certain sins that we are battling with. Or maybe even certain prejudices or things that we are wrong about, right, in our view of the world, or the view of the church, or view of others. Always be seeking for God's help to have a deeper conversion. That when God converts us, he might not have to do it quite as drastically as he did with St. Paul.